What's up guys, my name is Carl and welcome to Tech Hunter. And today I'm checking out the budget-friendly Coolermaster Masterbox Lite 3.1. For less than $50 or £50, is this Micro ATX case any good? Let's find out. So I ordered this case last month. I decided it'd be a great little case, being to house my mini GTX 960. It'd be great for my budget Ryzen PC build. I'll start with the good points for this case, what I liked about it, and maybe how some things could be improved. Then I'll move on to the bits that I really just did not like at all. First things first though, I love the looks of this case. When the PC is off and the lights are off, it looks incredibly subtle and can easily blend in with any setup. The red accents along the top and the bottom can be swapped for other colours, black and white being the other choices. I like the red accents though, but so I just left them on there. It's easy enough to swap them over, and you could mix and match too, if that's what you fancy, it's up to you. But it's nice that Coolermaster offer this kind of customization, which is something I really appreciate. The side panel is very tinted, which can make the case hard to see inside, unless you have some LED strip to add some extra lighting, or brighter LED fans than the Corsair AF120s I have. Also quieter fans than those ones as well, they're so loud. Moving away from aesthetics, let's look at the practicality of this case, which is also where the annoyances begin too. Starting with that side panel. It's acrylic and held on with 4 thumb screws, which is just an awkward process. While you're removing it or putting it back on, it just falls out, it doesn't land neatly, it just makes a big bang and it's just not very good at all. They could have done a much better design than that. When you touch it, you can't help but get fingerprints all over it. Then when it comes to cleaning that acrylic, it's an absolute nightmare. When you wipe it with a cloth, it just creates static, which encourages the dust to stick to the acrylic. This is the same with all acrylic cases and always has been, which is why I love tempered glass so much more. The front panel is also tinted, which coupled with some LED fans can look really good, whilst also maintaining the subtlety of the PC case when it's turned off. As far as I/O is concerned, up front you have a power switch with a white LED behind it, a teeny tiny reset switch on the far left, a headphone and microphone jack, as well as USB 2 and a USB 3 port. Why these couldn't both just be USB 3 and have one less cable in the system and make the life of the user that little bit better is a tad annoying. Moving inside the case though, it has some nice features. It has a removable dust filter for the power supply, as well as tiny little rubber grommets to keep the PSU off the bottom of the case. The PSU of which I did eventually turn around the right way, so we no longer have that nice Be Quiet logo, instead a nice ugly sticker. So the Masterbox includes only one case fan, which is by no means quiet at all. Coupled with the AF120s I bought, it does keep the case cool, but nowhere near quiet. The case does have support for a 240mm radiator in the front, but there's nowhere to mount anything at the top of the case, so no exhaust up there or a radiator to go up there. The biggest bugbear for me is that SSD and hard drive support is terrible. Unless you want to use the included drive cage, which I really didn't want to, as it's just sat in an incredibly terrible place in the center of the case. Hard drives and SSDs are usually hidden in a lot of cases due to their unstylish looks, but Coolermaster has set them center stage in this case for some reason. So I decided to use some sticky cable pads and just strap it to the bottom of the case, as none of the holes in the bottom of the case lined up with my SSD. So I thought it's the most obvious route to go down. If I'd done this again, I'd probably have spent another £10 and just got an M.2 SSD, put it straight on the motherboard and had one less cable and a lot less issues. Another issue I do have though is cable management. The cables have no grommets, which is always disappointing, but they're not expected at this price point for some reason. Considering how cheap grommets really are, it's still a bit of a joke that they've not made their way down to more budget-friendly cases. The most annoying part of this case for me though is the cable routing route for the 8-pin EPS. It doesn't exist. Unless you had an extension to do this neatly or ran it straight across the front of the board in front of your graphics card and everything, the only other way to do it cleanly is the way that I did it. Put less screws into the motherboard, especially in that top left corner, and squeeze it up behind the motherboard and bend it over and insert it. As long as your PC doesn't move around a lot, this should be fine and not really cause any harm in the long term. That sounds sick. Around the back of the case, there's enough room for most of your cables. I've got a semi-modular PSU in here, which definitely helps, though it's still a bit of a struggle to get the cables. I've got distracted by semi. It's still a bit of a struggle to get the side panel back on. Now that probably sounds like there's a lot of complaints compared to the positives. Overall, I like the looks of this case a lot. I know that it's a good case. Now that the build process is finished, that's all that really matters, isn't it? I like what it looks like now that it's done. Would I like to build one again? No, not really. Of course I wouldn't. It was a pain in the arse. Would I recommend the case for newbies? Probably yes, because it looks good. It does look good. But they don't really know what they're missing out on, so they're not going to be ones moaning or judging. For me though, that someone who's built multiple PCs, it's just a bit of a nightmare and an ordeal throughout. I've said it a few times. I do like how it looks. Now that it's done, but Jesus, was it annoying. As always guys, if you like this kind of stuff, feel free to click that like button down below. If you didn't, click that dislike button. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought about the video today, and if you decided my face hasn't offended you. Don't forget to click that subscribe button. It'd be good if we could hit 100 subscribers very, very soon. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.